But first tonight, an exclusive story. The New South Wales Teachers Federation is supporting a move for school teachers to wear the Palestinian Keffiyeh, the checkered black and white scarf, into classrooms in public schools in a show of support with Palestinians. We can reveal that the teachers and school staff for Palestine Group wrote on their Facebook page 2 days ago, and I quote, "From today, teachers can proudly and safely wear Keffiyeh to work with backing of the New South Wales Teachers Federation. Our week of action has been extended for a week. Please take photos at work of teachers wearing Keffiyeh or signs calling to end the siege and bombing of Gaza and send to us. They say if any principal tries to stop you, get the New South Wales Teachers Federation to speak to your principal." And then their post talks about amendments to a motion that was passed at the Teachers Federation State Council. And these amendments are, firstly, that the Teachers Federation will work with the Education Department to ensure that teachers will be free to show support to colleagues and students in Gaza affected by the humanitarian catastrophe without fear of code of conduct action. I'm going to come back to the code of conduct in a moment. They say, secondly, that the Teachers Federation will pursue with other unions sanctions against those who finance aggression, and this includes divestment by affiliated bodies. Thirdly, they say the Teachers Federation will work with the union movement to pressure the New South Wales Minns government to advocate for a ceasefire. And number 4, that the Teachers Federation will encourage teacher contingents at the weekly protest for Gaza marches. Now, to say this is all highly offensive and deeply troubling is an understatement. This is pure anti-Semitism from public school teachers. It would unquestionably make Jewish children in public classrooms feel unsafe, threatened, alienated and bullied. This is disgusting bullying from teachers. This is racism from teachers against Jewish students. Those teachers can believe or think whatever they like. They can protest in their private time to their heart's content. But they have no right to bring it into the classroom and make the classroom an unsafe place for Jewish students. I actually can't believe this has been allowed to happen. We approached the New South Wales Teachers Federation for comment today and invited them on the program. They declined and instead sent us a statement where they said, and I quote, "Teachers must be afforded the professional respect to dress as they so choose. This includes those that choose to wear a keffiyeh or kippah." The outgoing president of the New South Wales Teachers Federation, Angelo Gavrilatis, tweeted this: How many more children must be killed before the world takes action against the state of Israel? Action against the state of Israel? What action is he actually demanding here? Then there's another tweet he sent where he said hospitals, schools, the wanton destruction and murder of innocent people continues unabated. He says enough in capital letters with an exclamation mark. Well, I'm sorry, but Israel is not committing murder of innocent civilians. That's what Hamas did to Israelis. Israel is taking every step, making every effort to protect civilian life, begging civilians to leave the war zone. He's also retweeted comments that Israel does not have a right of defence under international law. He's demanded a ceasefire now. He repeatedly demands a ceasefire. He even claims there's a genocide underway. Now, I always find it insightful to go back to the terror attacks on October 7 to see what these people like the outgoing Teachers Federation president were posting at that time. I mean, he's posted prolifically in support of Palestinians, but what did he say about Israelis on the day that they came under a terrorist attack? Well, for Angelo Gavrilatis, there was nothing on October the 7th, nothing on October the 8th, and then on October the 9th, he retweeted a Greens politician who said it was disgraceful for Defence Minister Richard Marles to claim that the attacks by Hamas were unprovoked and that it's appalling that the Opera House will be lit up in support of Israel. So very instructive to learn that the outgoing head of the Teachers Federation was appalled about the Opera House being lit up in blue and white, the colours of the Israeli flag, in solidarity with Israel, and that he didn't make a single comment about the slaughter of Jewish life on October 7th in the most barbaric fashion we've ever seen. The whole purpose of the Teachers Federation is to improve teachers' working conditions and pay. They should have absolutely nothing to do with political protest. And the purpose of teachers, of course, are to educate our children, to improve the declining literacy and numeracy rates. Teachers have more important things to do than bring racism and hatred into the classroom. This encourages division, and it means that Jewish students who support Israel are at a very real risk of being bullied. I mean, this all truly makes my blood boil. So is the New South Wales government putting up with this? Do they have anything to say about this? Well, we asked the New South Wales Education Minister, Prue Carr, for comment today. She didn't give us a personal comment, but the Education Department responded and they told us, and I quote, that teachers are expected to be politically neutral during class, on school grounds, or any time they identify themselves as a New South Wales public school teacher. They say we provide clear guidance around this for all our employees in our code of conduct. It's understood that the department has reminded staff of their obligations to remain politically neutral and that any teacher found to be in breach of the code of conduct would be subject to appropriate action. And the Department of Education says they don't endorse the activity of the Teachers for Palestine Group. But what sort of message is it sending to teachers when you don't have the Education Minister standing up there saying this is unacceptable, you can't conduct political protests in the classroom? And as that statement said, it is against the Teachers' Code of Conduct. It's Section 10 of the New South Wales Teachers' Code of Conduct, and it says very clearly that what they do in their private capacity is one thing, but when they're on school grounds, when they're acting in their role as teachers, they have to be impartial. There can be no political protests, no political statements whatsoever. This is in black and white in their code of conduct. Now, this is deeply upsetting, but we're also seeing more and more Jewish-owned businesses being targeted by aggressive pro-Palestinian protests. The latest, the Anita ice cream chain. Now, this is a chain across Australia, but it also has a store in Canberra. And there are reports that customers were harassed and the shop was vandalised with anti-Israel stickers. And you can see it in this video. We need to make a stand of supporting businesses that are attacked like this. So if you feel like an ice cream or a gelato over the next few days, we should all make sure to support this business. In fact, it's a good excuse to have an ice cream. Now, this type of anti-Semitism is why leaders across business, sport, media and politics signed a letter today calling for an end in the alarming explosion in hatred towards Jews. There are double-page advertisements in papers across the country today. You can see it here on the front page of the Financial Review. It featured the names of 600 high-profile Australians from across the political divide who are all supporting this call for unity. And by the way, 400 of those 600 people who signed this letter are not Jewish. This is a show of support and solidarity. It's to let the Jewish community know that we're not alone. The letter calls out a 482% rise in anti-Semitic incidents over the past 7 weeks that, the letter says, has swept Australia's shores. It says these leaders will not tolerate racism of any kind in their workplaces, they firmly reject it in their communities. Now, that figure of 482%, I mean, you have to remember, these are just reported anti-Semitic incidents. I would say that probably half the number of people who experience anti-Semitism don't report it. I know I have it extensively on my own personal social media. I never report it. The reality is, and I don't even have to tell you this, we've never ever seen anti-Semitism like this in Australia. Now, among the leaders who signed this very important letter, 19 former state premiers, including Jeff Kennett, Daniel Andrews, Steve Bracks, Gladys Berejiklian and Anna Bligh. Media chiefs, including Lachlan and Sarah Murdoch, Kerry Stokes and News Corp Australia Executive Chairman Michael Miller. Business figures, including Slater and Gordon Chairman James McKenzie, Company Director Diane Smith-Gander, RBA Board Member Carol Schwartz, Ian Narev and David Gonski. There's also sporting administrators, Gil McLaughlin, AFL Chairman Richard Goyder, Eddie Maguire, Tennis Australia boss Craig Tilley and NBL Chair Larry Kestelman, also America's Cup-winning skipper John Bertrand. Part of what they said is, and I quote, "We've been alarmed at the offensive language, vandalism and harassment occurring in our streets, in university campuses and outside public Australian landmarks, including the Opera House, Flinders Street Station and Parliament." They say to our Jewish employees, business partners, customers and all who are affected, we acknowledge the heightened feelings of threat being felt by your community right now and affirm your right to physical and psychological safety. The Fin Review reports that one signatory to this statement, who spoke on the basis of anonymity, said the situation was like 1920s Germany. Also showing support, Elon Musk made a solidarity trip to Israel, and this came after accusations that he'd agreed with an anti-Semitic comment on his Twitter platform, his X platform. Musk spent time touring the Kfar Aza kibbutz, where Hamas slaughtered families. He was there with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, also the President Isaac Herzog. Now, this show of support from Australia's leaders in particular, but also Elon Musk, it sends a powerful and heartwarming message of support for Israel and for the Jewish community here in Australia, for Jewish Australians. It's a good reminder that sensible Australians, mainstream Australians, and this is the majority of us, not only don't support, but are outraged by the anti-Semitism and despicable aggression we're seeing from pro-Palestinian protesters who are targeting the Jewish community. It's not a reason to be complacent, though. We can't allow teachers, public school teachers, in the classroom where they work, funded by the taxpayer, to infect the minds of our impressionable children. We need to make sure that our political leaders put a stop, not just send a statement that they put a stop to public school teachers bringing this issue into the classroom. And our political leaders, by the way, also shouldn't be encouraging anti-Semitism by wrongly accusing Israel of being careless with civilian casualties.